failure. Going about the local government authority, if they have internet and internet hubs, yes, internet hub is available, but it is not accessible by the rural farmers. In conclusion, this study concludes, therefore, that the rural farmers are involved in different and diverse livelihood activities, as it is evident from their income. Their income cannot sustain them all year round. Hence, they want means, different diverse means, alternative sources of livelihood, which include fish farming, snailery, and rabbitry as their alternative source of livelihood. Also, they also want digital financial services. Digital financial services should be provided to the rural farmers because they are not digitally literate. Recommendation: Ogun State therefore needs to intensify the support for rural farmers to be trained in alternative sources of livelihood, in digital literacy, and in climate smart agricultural practices in order to improve their livelihood status, the food and nutrition security. Also, there is need for intensification, awareness, dissemination, and adoption of digital solutions in adopting and adapting the climate smart agricultural practice in order to combat and mitigate climate change that has claimed some of their crop during the previous years. Furthermore, Ogun State needs to intensify on the production and the provision of infrastructure in the rural areas, especially ICT infrastructure, so that the farmers can be digitally literate. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Esther T. Tolonuju. I hope I got that right, for that very beautiful and comprehensive submission. And now to the representative from Imo State, I have the honor once again to call on the on our very distinguished professor all the way from UAES, Imo State, Professor Chris Emenyono, for his submissions.
MC, thank you so very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, once again. The objectives of the research, I remember when I was called to do a brief introduction here, I told her that we are going to have a rundown of the objectives of the research. By the time the presentations will start coming from each of the states. And I believe we've had all that. Am I correct? Good. So, and apart from the objectives, the methodologies that we're also using at addressing the objectives have also been read out and I believe extensively dealt with by my co-partners. So I think what I may have to do in this case is just go straight to the findings from Imo State and how it summarily dealt with 3 local governments in Imo State. In Imo, we have 3 agricultural zones. That is Owerri Agricultural Zone, Okigwe Agricultural Zone, and the Olu Agricultural Zone. So in these 3 zones, 1 local government was selected from each of them. From Owerri Agricultural Zone, Ngopala was selected. From Okigwe Agricultural Zone, Obowo was selected. And then from Olu Agricultural Zone, Wangele local government area was selected. And what we have here is just the distribution of the respondents in each of the local governments. You have 67 in each of the states for Ngopala and Wangele. And for Obowo, we have 66. For Ngopala, we have that's about 33.35%. Obowo, 33%, and Wangele, 33.35%, giving us the same representation as those in Ngopala. If we take a look at the age of the farmers, a good many of them age range between 41 to 60 years. having the highest percentage of 53.5%. In this case, between 41 and 51 to 60, if you take the class center, you'll be talking about 45, 48 PAs. There is an implication for the age. Remember, part of what is going to come out from this research is the development of some digital solutions that will help farmers to adapt to climate change. They are going to be designed, they are going to be developed. And after development or after invention, they are also going to be deployed, isn't it? That mean, but by that I mean the farmers will now have to use them. So, in this case, what we did here was to find out the age, the average age of the farmers. And the average age of the farmers gave us an indication that they are predominantly youths. And this has an implication for the study. Because you know, the younger you are, the easier for you it is for you to adopt the technology, use it, and even sustain the usage. When this was found out, remember, what we're doing here in this case is to see that the findings, because the approach we took was the bottom-top approach. It is not like what the government does on the global scale. Something is developed, designed in terms of policy statements, and then sent down across the states and the local government to fit in or to adopt a kind of one size fits it all. But that's not the approach in this study. What we started was to begin with the farmers themselves, find out what the needs of the farmers are, what the problems of the farmers are, and that is what we're now helping the developers of the technology for which the farmers will use. I mean, both the ICT persons who are working with us in our group, the finance experts who are working with us in the group, to also develop what kind of finance package is best suited for the farmers. Because we understand that these farmers cut across the 3 states chosen. There could also be peculiarities, individualism, properties that are peculiar to each of the states. And therefore, what it implies is that for anything you are developing, for instance, for a particular state that has a lower educational level, it should be such that should be developed to suit them. So that you don't develop something that nobody will use, or a technology will sell, somebody will adopt it, the adoption will not be sustained. Or is adopted, it won't be sustained, or he will take it, but the use also will not be sustained. You realize that by the time you have, I hope it doesn't fall from here, by the time you have a technology that is adopted in the first process, that is used, and the usage is not sustained, then it has not made sense. In the long run, it may end up being that what has been developed and what has been deployed was not effectively used. I hope we are getting the point. So, and that was the essence. Like I did tell us, you see, research is creating the necessary synergy from what it has secondary education.